Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to Watchcastage. Today we are looking at what I would classify as an abomination, and that is because Amazon now has their own line of wristwatches. This is called the Amazon Essentials Unisex Easy to Read Silver Tone and Nylon Strap Watch. If you are interested in this watch, it will cost you around $21. I will link it in the description if you want to pick it up. And let's jump into the build quality. First up, this is a relatively light watch coming in at around 33 grams on the provided nylon strap. The case diameter is 38 millimeters, really nice size there. As far as thickness, it is a very minuscule 9.5 millimeters. The lug tip to lug tip is going to be 45.5 millimeters. The lug width on this thing is 18 millimeters, meaning it will take 18 millimeter straps. There are not any drilled lugs on this thing. The water resistance on this is 100 feet or 30 meters. The crystal on the top is a domed mineral crystal, so you will be able to scratch that thing pretty well, and it has some really nice distortion there, as you can see. It really distorts when you get a little bit off axis. Off axis? This isn't a microphone. What would I call that? Off axis, we'll stick with it. The case does feel to be a metal, but it doesn't necessarily feel like it's great metal. And then we have a press-on case back. It says stainless steel back. It has the movement, which is a Y121F, which we'll talk about later. Water resistant 100 feet. And in the center, Amazon Essentials. And we'll pop this off and look at the movement a little bit later as well. Then as far as the strap, there's really nothing special about it. The buckle is going to be a high-polished, unsigned buckle, so at least it does match the finish of the watch. The material of the strap is a nylon. It doesn't feel terrible, but at the same time, it doesn't feel great. I think it would fall apart after a bit of use. It does have one permanent keeper and then one floating keeper, so no matter how long the watch is, you will be able to keep it controlled pretty easily. And as a whole, it is a fairly comfortable strap. I just don't expect it to last very long, but that's kind of my feeling of the watch as a whole. Next up, as far as the finishing, it is very, very straightforward. The entire case is a high polish. The bezel, the tops of the lugs, the side of the case, everything is high polish. It will get a bunch of smudges on it. It will scratch easily. High polish. Then as far as the dial, this is the white dial variant, and I actually think it looks pretty nice. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible. You can't expect much for the price. But along the outside of the dial, you have this raised minute track, which does appear to be relatively well lined up. It doesn't look like anything's completely misaligned. Inside of that, you have a 12-hour Arabic markers, making it very legible in that regard. Inside of that, you have a minute track, which goes in 5-minute increments, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever. At 6 o'clock, above the minute track, you have WR 100 feet, meaning it is water resistant to 100 feet or 30 meters. And that's about it for the dial. And then as far as the handset, this is where I run into issues. It is nothing but a high polish handset, and that means that at points it almost looks black. Right now you can tell that it does look black and it is very legible, but in the wrong light, it can become very difficult to actually read the watch, to actually be able to see the hands. The second hand is the absolute worst in that regard, but high polished handset there, and I would call these a baton handset. Then as far as the features or specs of this, the movement is an Epson Y121F, which is made in Japan. It has no jewels, it is battery powered, it is a quartz movement, and the specs read that this has a 3-year battery life, and they quote an accuracy of plus or minus 20 seconds a month. With my use, I was getting around -4 seconds a month, so really not as bad as they say, but that's the same thing with Seiko. And here you go, here is the Lume Test. You may be wondering, where's the watch? I can't see anything. Exactly. This watch has no lume. It has no lume, it has no light, you can't see anything, you can't read the watch at night. I'm becoming Dr. Seuss, I'm so disappointed in that. Just to actually demonstrate it, yeah, there's the watch, there's the watch. Nothing, absolutely nothing. What a complete and utter disappointment. And here is how the watch looks on my 18 centimeter wrist. I actually think it's a fairly nice looking watch in terms of aesthetics. Very simple. And as I mentioned, the numerals, the Arabics are very easy to read, but in certain lights, that handset can become a bit difficult to read. Under the studio lights, very legible though. Now let's get into the more subjective part of the review where it is my opinion, and we'll start with the pros. First pro being it is cheap, it is very affordable, $21. Hard to complain about much, but I will because I'm a bitter old curmudgeon. I will complain, but it is affordable. Also, I found my watch to be fairly accurate, but I will address something a little bit later in the conclusion to this. Also, I did find the watch to be fairly comfortable. Yeah, the strap doesn't feel high quality. It doesn't feel like it's going to last forever. The watch doesn't feel high quality either, but it does sit well on the wrist and it's light and you forget that it's there, which is always a good thing. And with quartz watches, sometimes mainly with the Timex Weekender, they can get to be quite loud. This is a relatively silent quartz movement, which is always nice because the last thing you want is to have this constant reminder of the inevitable pass of time as you edge closer to the grave. So that's a pro. And then as far as cons, sorry, that got really dark. I found the polished hands to be a little bit difficult to read at times. I would like something that's a little bit more high contrast, maybe have a black border around the hands, or maybe have white lume in the center and then black borders around that. Make it a little bit easier to read because right now it is easy to read under these lights, but in other lighting situations, it can get lost. The handset can get lost. Also, no lume, no light. I hate that. I do want to point out that it doesn't hit all of the marks, which is an issue with a lot of quartz watches, but this isn't the worst that I've seen, and I'm kind of surprised by that. It gets in the ballpark. The second tan gets close to the markers, and I'm kind of impressed by it, but I do want to point out it doesn't hit them all. And also, as I already mentioned, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's built very well. The strap feels low quality. The build quality of the watch feels low quality. But on that note, again, it's $21. You really can't expect the world for that price. And to wrap up, let's talk about my conclusion and would I recommend it. And honestly, I don't know what to think about this thing. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm left wondering why Amazon started making wristwatches. The reason I'm wondering that is they're not making them more affordable. Yeah, $21 is affordable. It is cheap, but you also have other options from Casio and Timex at that same price point. So they're not making them more affordable. They're not making them better. It has the same specs in terms of water resistance, has similar materials to other affordable watches, and doesn't necessarily feel that great. There's nothing that is really being accomplished with Amazon releasing their own line of wristwatches that are affordable. I don't know why they did it. So would I recommend the Amazon Essentials Easy Reader Unisex wristwatch thing? I don't think that I can. The reason I'm saying that, at $20, I would much rather grab something like the Casio Forester, which is around $20 as well, and it has a light so you're able to read it at night, and it also has a date. This is plastic, and the Amazon Essentials is metal. That's something to consider. Or I would get, if I was willing to go digital, I would get the Casio Royale. This is not a negative display. I just have an ND filter on the lens, but this is a regular Casio Royale. Keep that in mind. But even if I didn't have those other options at the exact price point as this, I still don't think that I would be able to recommend it because I went ahead and looked at the reviews on Amazon because it had a relatively low star rating. Some folks were saying that they were losing 1 to 2 minutes per day. Other folks were saying after a couple of weeks it simply stopped working. I don't think that that is a good thing for a watch, a brand new watch. It just doesn't seem like they've ironed out all of the quality assurance or quality control at the factory that makes these, so I don't think currently I can recommend it because I do think there are better and much more reliable options out there, which is what I would go with over Amazon Essentials. And I think that's actually going to wrap up for today. That has been the Amazon Essentials Easy Reader Unisex, whatever the hell it is, with a white dial on a green, nylon strap. Let me know what you think of this thing in the comments down below, and to let me know why you think Amazon started making them. Do you think that they believe they're doing something effective? Or do you think that it's just a money grab so they can recommend their watch over more affordable options from Timex or Casio? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, thumbs up, hated it, thumbs down, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye.